this month. This month we've actually been in contact and with our American counterparts in e-extension actually. And I'll get Ashley Griffin, who's the Program and Facilitator Manager for the Impact Collaborative for e-extension, to actually introduce herself and her team and what they'll be presenting today. So Ashley, over to you.
Thank you, Graham. Erin, if you can go ahead and share our slides, please. As Graham said, my name is Ashley Griffin and I live in Kentucky. And so, yes, I have horses in my background and I have horses out in my pasture. And so I've been so privileged to be able to work with those of you in Australia with Extension and the GRDC in the past. And I'm extremely proud of the work that those individuals and groups have done and continue to do there in Australia in your area. I want to, before we go any further, introduce to you, or let them introduce themselves, the team that we have here from e-extension. And next slide. And there we have a group of people that I think can really help answer and field questions as we conclude. And we'll start first with Megan.
Hi everybody, my name is Megan Hirschman and I'm located in Michigan, which is in the northern part of the United States. And like Ashley, I also have horses and have been enjoying my summer and the horses and all of the experiences that come with that. I originally worked with Michigan State University in their development, which is fundraising area in corporate and foundation relations for the College of Ag and Natural Resources. And I've come over to e-extension as of October. So I'm just nearing my 1-year anniversary with e-extension and I help work with partnerships and development.
Thank you, Megan. Molly?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Molly Immendorf. I'm the lead design manager of the Impact Collaborative, the program that we're going to be sharing today. And I've been with e-extension for about 3 years. And prior to that, I worked for University of Wisconsin Extension, and I am housed in Wisconsin, which again is in the middle of the upper middle of the United States. I live kind of near Chicago.
And last but not least, Erin.
Hi everyone, Aaron Wybe. I am the Communication and Engagement Manager with the e-extension Foundation. I am located in North Carolina, which is on the East Coast. So I'm about, let's say about 4 hours south of Washington, DC. And I've been with the e-extension Foundation for about 2.5 years, getting close to 3 years. And prior to that, I was in the US Air Force and I was actually stationed in Japan for 3 years. So I had a chance to come down to Australia during my time in the Pacific.
Well, we have a great team and just really excited that everyone was available to come and join us. A slide. So just what is the Impact Collaborative? You know, the Impact Collaborative is designed as a premier e-extension member benefit here in the United States. The Impact Collaborative is a professional development experience for cooperative extension professionals that provides learning opportunities geared towards innovation while bringing strategic support and new capacity to the system. These experiences are enhanced with the help of external partners and supporting organizations, much like the industry supports extension in Australia. Working together, we find new ways to generate a more visible and measurable local impact, which is our key goal in working with teams and projects in the Impact Collaborative. We have 6 phases of this process, which draws from a variety of methodologies and practices that are contextualized for extension professionals. Our Impact Collaborative curriculum has evolved over the last 4 years, and participants have experienced the innovation skill building experience both in person and virtually. In fact, we just concluded a 2-week, 4-day virtual training last Friday. As this professional development has evolved, we have embedded new tools and services to create what we call the Wraparound Services to help program teams reach a more visible and measurable local impact. Slide. So our first focus was to catalyze program project teams. From this, our core curriculum was born, and this was led by Molly Immendorf, who you just met. The Impact Collaborative program combines creative entrepreneurial methodologies with cooperative extension best practices, and this has become our 70-page workbook. Slide. So in looking at this a little closer, you will see that this process is not linear, as viewed in the left diagram. The innovation skill building experience does contain 16 blocks for new and program and project teams. It might be helpful to go one block at a time when you're brand new. And these blocks are listed on the right of your screen. So understanding what is innovation is one of our blocks. What motivates a team? How do you develop a team? Why? Understanding the audience through empathy and needs assessment. What are the sound strategies for ideation, and how can you create idea selection among a team? Developing a unique value proposition is also a way in which we can establish a way to communicate our ideas. And planning for how to collaborate with others is a key component of this curriculum. We also plan for impact desired, as well as validate all the assumptions that are being made in the process. We also focus on how to iterate our ideas. Rapid prototyping is a key component of these processes. And then how do we actually tell a compelling story to seek funding and partnership while having a sound implementation plan? So that, in a very quick nutshell, is what encompasses the blocks of the innovation skill building experience. Slide. So during our face-to-face events, you can see we have a lot of fun, and collaboration is obviously a must with this process. There's not a single person that's going to do this on their own, not if they're embracing the aspects of the innovation skill building experience. In 2020, despite COVID, we were already committed to taking this experience virtually in order to reach more professionals. Slide. So in doing so, Molly had the genius idea of creating a journey checklist. We find that every team is different and has specific needs, and this checklist allows project teams to determine what they have already figured out and where they may have some gaps. So any item on our checklist that cannot be satisfied directs the team to the innovation skill building experience block, some of those that I just mentioned, that can help them. And this allows every project or program team to find their own path. They can use that checklist to help them figure it out. Slide. So in the last year, we've served approximately 4,000 extension professionals in the Impact Collaborative. I didn't even realize we had served that many until Erin just gave that to me this week. So we have accomplished this by offering Incubator events at the national and state level for E-Extension Foundation membership. We've also ramped up our virtual engagement through webinars, learning circles, and online chats. Slide. Our Impact Collaborative Incubator has served 160 project teams, which have benefited from our wraparound services that have prepared them for this increased financial support. So just in 2020, we've realized $1.3 million in grants for these teams that have participated within the Impact Collaborative. Slide. But enough about hearing me talk about, what it is and some of our outcomes. I would like you to hear firsthand from professionals who have benefited directly from an Impact Collaborative Incubator event. So Erin, if you can cue the video. Thank you.
This week, we are working on the innovation skill building experience for the entire NDSU Extension Service and Research Extension Center staff as part of our annual conference. We have about 200 extension agents and specialists and Research Extension Center researchers. So it's a very diverse group, but yet we all work very closely together. And rather than working within their silos of agriculture or FCS or whatever, we have multidisciplinary issue teams. So that's what's really exciting to me, to see different staff working together on an issue that affects them similarly but in different ways.
I think the Impact Collaborative is a pretty neat opportunity. This is very different from anything that we've had here in a conference opportunity for the state of North Dakota. And so at first it was a little bit scary and hesitant coming into it, but I've been hearing a lot of awesome conversations going on about how it's certainly challenging people to come out of their boxes a little bit. You know, maybe at first, even at our table, there's a little bit of quietness, but now everybody's becoming more engaged and interactive. And so I think it's a perfect opportunity for us to collaborate on something that's been difficult. These all have been selected as true issues here in the state of North Dakota. And so we have the opportunity in teams to really address something that is meaningful to our state. And I think the Impact Collaborative is helping us to be more confident in the process of how on earth do we handle such tough issues and start to identify ways that we can accomplish or tackle or try to mitigate some of the things that are happening.
The methodology of it, it gives you another tool to think things through. Like we're always, all of us are, you know, we have different programs that we are like, hey, could I do this? Or they're programs that, are they working? Or could we make this better? Or maybe this is something I could try. You know, thinking outside the box, dreaming a little bit, seeing if those ideas could, you know, actually change lives or improve things or give our stakeholders something to actually take home and use and make stuff of value.
Well, I think it's a great model, right? So really for any project that you're working on, big or small, there's at least pieces that you can use from the Impact Collaborative model to do more innovative work, right? And just taking steps like ideation and using some of the activities that we did in that step of the innovation skills building, that you could use those every day in your work. Hey, I've got I want to address this issue. How can I do ideation, or even just making space in your life to do, and your work to do that kind of ideation? I think a lot of those are transferable to like a daily way of working. But what's awesome about, I think, about what we're doing today is we have a critical mass in our organization who are now going to be familiar with these steps. So when we go and work on program planning or work on a project and talk about, are we really iterating here, or have we really investigated, or have we taken the steps in the innovation process, people are going to know what we're talking about, and hopefully that will sort of help us kind of connect and also be more innovative in our program planning.
Well, I think it's bringing them a different way of thinking about things, or a different method to do that brainstorming and idea generation. It's bringing them some structure around that to some extent, but also giving them the freedom to just kind of think outside of the box and look at a broad variety of solutions that might be out there. Been fun to just have some time for us to generate ideas and talk about how we might move some of those ideas forward. So the process itself has been really engaging, a lot of fun to be involved with, and so we're glad you're here. Tomorrow we'll have the teams are going to present their ideas and get a chance to pitch it to our expert panel of judges, which consists of some of our stakeholders from across the state. And then we're actually going to put some dollars to those teams and let them go to work on developing some programs or some solutions based on what they've come up with.
Thank you, Aaron. I think that type of testimony says it all. That's just one of the state events that we hosted last year. And it was a really engaging group. And there's many, many more of these videos on our website at impact.extension.org that you can check out and learn a little bit more about. So you may be wondering just how can we reach so many people, and how would we ever reach all the cooperative extension professionals in the United States? And some of that we're still trying to figure out. But in the meantime, we've developed an innovation facilitator program. This program not only trains professionals how to use the innovation skill building experience, but how to coach individuals and teams through this creative entrepreneurial methodology. We have offered 6 facilitator trainings starting back in the fall of 2017. And our 6th one actually is starting tomorrow. So we're really excited about that, bringing on 45 new trainees into this program. So one of the things I wanted to do was share a recent story that Jason Weigel from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and he's actually pictured here at one of our previous face-to-face facilitator trainings with his superhero cape on, by the way. But he sent us a quick note that he used the Innovation Skill Building Workbook to facilitate a meeting with the Garden County Chamber of Commerce in Nebraska. They were rebuilding their chamber almost literally from the ground up, and he used specific blocks like the motivation block, the why, choosing your adventure, stakeholders and roles, and used our if-then worksheet to kick off the planning process. He says the documents were immensely helpful, and it sparked some amazing conversation and supported their work. But one of the participants that he was coaching even told the group that he's been through a lot of programs like this before, but the worksheets were the most clear, concise, and the tools really helped them get to the point. He's interested in actually going through an innovation skill building experience with his organization. So we were really happy to hear that feedback from just one of our facilitators this week. So we also, want to share with you a little bit about how do we stay connected with all of these people. And I've invited Aaron. He is definitely the master of a lot of our work, and one of those things is Connect Extension. So I'm going to turn it over to Aaron to kind of wrap us up here with a demonstration of Connect Extension, and this might be something that even you all are interested in. Aaron.
All right, let me go ahead and reshare my screen. You should all see Connect Extension on my screen. Is that right?
Yep.
Awesome. I see a thumbs up. Great. So.
Oh, yep.
Okay, good. You scared me, Megan. So, over the last few years, since eXtension's inception, back, I think it was 2004, we've had a number of custom technology platforms. And just over the last few years, we've started shifting from having our own custom coded platforms to using commercial tools. And we had a bunch of really great ones where we had communities of practice working together and a lot of great features and tools in there. And what we decided to do, and COVID kind of pushed us along really quick. So I think this went from idea to implementation in just about 7 or 8 days. But we took a lot of the best parts of some of those technology tools we have been using for years, and we found a commercial solution that allows us to package that all into one thing. And that's what we have here, which is called Connect Extension. So it's a hub for learning, professional development, and collaboration. And there's really 2 sides to this platform. We do have 3,000 active extension users in here, but there is a public facing side to this. And that's what you see on the screen here. And you can see something called our Learn Calendar. And this is where we, along with folks all across our system, publish different professional development events that they are making available system-wide and also to the public. And we've had really good feedback on this, that it has helped with participation in that. And then there's also a category for folks to post different blogs. If there's some expertise or resource sharing they'd like to offer system-wide or to the public, they can do that. But it's not just a website, and I think at first glance it kind of looks like that. But what's happening behind the scenes when somebody creates a event post, for example, where they want to publish to the calendar, is there's a lot of really great integrated tools that are kind of operating in the background. So when somebody creates an event, it sends out a notification to everybody that has an account in here. So all 3,000 users suddenly become aware of something that's happening, for example, in Washington State. And this is helping, I think, reduce some duplication of work and sharing those efforts across the system. And then the second thing is we also package all the things that are happening for the week into a single weekly digest email that goes out to about 20,000 extension professionals. So that's really helping drive some of the engagement, not just for us, but for our colleagues across the system. Then there's the other side of the platform, which is something called subgroups. And I'll go ahead and click on that. And hopefully it'll load here. There we go. So subgroups are for extension professionals, and they're generally led by extension professionals, but it's like their own little world here inside Connect Extension, where they have an opportunity to build their own audiences and communicate with those audiences and offer different opportunities to them. So I'll click on one, for example. This is the Health and Well-Being subgroup, and this is led by one of our national organizations with Association for Public Land Grants and Universities called ECOP, which is the Extension Committee on Organization and Policy. So we have a lot of acronyms here. But this is their own little world inside Connect Extension where they can speak to their audience, they can market to their audience, and most importantly, they can help grow their audience to the things that they think are important. So in this case, this is health and well-being, and they cover a number of topics like broadband internet access, health equity, and of course, a number of things related to COVID-19 that are going on, and putting it in the context of cooperative extension. So this is just one example. Right now, I think there's about 30 subgroups happening here in Connect Extension. And lastly, I'll just close with, there's a lot of really cool little features that are part of this platform. So it's really easy to use. You probably saw me a second ago click this post button. And it makes it real easy for anybody in here to post different types of content. It autofills a lot of the content blocks in there, so it organizes it in a really nice way. But we also have another cool feature we've been doing, and Ashley mentioned this just a second ago, and it's called chats. So we're kind of getting back to the early days of the internet, where we had chat rooms. We had something called America Online. I don't know, was that in Australia? I don't know. But so we've been hosting these monthly chats here in Connect Extension. We've been focusing these on different topic areas, and they've been well attended. So this one was on virtualizing horticulture and master gardener programs. So we have people that have accounts in here join us, and we talk about the issues as it relates to these topics. So I think that's about covers it for Connect Extension, just a general overview.
Thank you, Aaron. Really appreciate that. And that really concludes the information that we wanted to share with you, just trying to do a broad brush stroke of the Impact Collaborative. And I think we only have maybe another slide, Aaron, to share. We can take any questions that you may like to ask. That's why we brought on our Wraparound Service team, and Molly and Megan and Aaron, and there's still others, but we'd be glad to field any questions that you may have. And then our final slide actually has an email that if you have questions after this is over that you would like to submit, you are welcome to send those to impact@extension.org. So at this point, Graham, I'll just open the floor if they want to ask any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Ashley and Aaron and the rest of the team. Certainly great timing, actually. It's one of the shortest webinars we've had. I'm sure there are some questions, and so I'll open the floor to participants. You can enter it into the chat, or I guess because it's a meeting, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. So I'm just checking. John, oh, here we go. We've got Denise and John on. Who else have we got here? I'm sure there are some questions. John James, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask of the group at this stage?
Yeah, thanks, Graham. So guys, I recall that you used the Adobe Kickbox program a few years ago. So I'm just curious how you found that and whether that's kind of what you've used now to develop what you're doing now.
Well, you're right. And I want to turn that question over to Miss Molly, because she'll be able to describe exactly how we migrated from that to where we're at today.
Sure. So So Ashley mentioned that we used, creative entrepreneurial methodologies, and one of those was the design thinking methodology from the Adobe Kickbox. But we found that it was too business oriented and left out some, honestly, it wasn't team focused. And we're all about collaboration. We're the Impact Collaborative. So we really wanted to make sure that we had a methodology that combined those best resources with cooperative extension and co-creating and co-innovating with our community members.
Thanks very much. And there's plenty of others on here who might have questions. So Denise, you're getting picked on now.
Thanks, Graham. I'm just wondering the best ways you've found to connect with other extension professionals. Like, are you keeping track of which things work the best to get people aware of Impact Collaborative, and what's working basically to get the groups online and things like that?
Aaron, would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. And one thing I kind of failed to share about Connect Extension, I mentioned subgroups, and there's a number of different subgroups in there for different topic areas. The Impact Collaborative has its own subgroup inside Connect Extension. So those that are member institutions of the E-Extension Foundation get automatically added to that subgroup when they join Connect Extension. So one thing, we talked about growing our audience and using this as a technology tool to do that. And I think it's really helped with that because it has put front and center the opportunities and the engagements that we have to offer that I think a lot of people weren't aware of for a long time. And now they're seeing it put right in their inbox every single day. And we're starting to see a lot of new names and seeing a lot of new faces joining us.
I have a question here from Noel Ainsworth, but Noel, I might get you to actually ask that directly. We haven't got that many people who can't do that, so we can do that verbally if you like. Thanks, Noel. You'll unmute.
Thanks, Graham. Yeah, look, I was interested in the program and what metrics of success the team there use to really judge whether they can continue or expand the program.
Are you referring to teams that participate in the program themselves?
Yeah, it probably varies for a few different aspects, but I was interested in the range of sort of metrics you use in the different parts of the work you're involved.
From an individual team standpoint, they all set their own impact data points and things they want to achieve. And so obviously through that process and through the blocks that are provided within the workbook and with our support, our coaching can sometimes lead them to new ways of doing things if they do hit a roadblock. But I think that, it's very individualized, and I'm going to let Molly continue, kind of sharing a little more details about that, if I'm even getting close to what you were looking for.
As Ashley said, there's a lot of different ways to look at that, at what is success. And part of this, our ultimate success is that local impact, right? That's measurable and visible, because that's the ultimate goal. As we were developing this program and we have had teams going through, we've looked for what are the things that teams have, those characteristics that they have that help them, that, in support of implementing, right? Because, if we're in an incubator standpoint, which we are in the Impact Collaborative, we're generally speaking very early on projects. We want to see indicators of team success that help propel them, and we've actually incorporated a lot of those things that we observed that successful teams were doing, like having a project roadmap with milestones and targets, with dates and people. And so in our latest iteration of the Innovation Skill Building Workbook, we've incorporated a model project roadmap for teams to use. So we have a lot of those kinds of indicators. So there's evidence of them using the tools through different pieces of the tools that we've shared with them. We also, Aaron's shared in the chat, we have success stories that really tell a more complete story of any particular team that has been successful through using the innovation skill building and the impact collaborative wraparound as well. Aaron, do you have, you unmuted, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I from where I sit in the organization is communication and telling the story of the work that the Impact Collaborative is doing. Success from what I've observed really ranges from, hey, we've got new skills here and we're able to do our jobs more effectively, to we just got $1 million federal grant, after working with you all and envisioning this whole program or this whole project. So it's a pretty wide spectrum, but I mean, every success I think is really important. And I think in a system where you have an expert model of really pragmatic thinkers, to get them to think differently about how they develop their projects and programs, and apply some of these design thinking principles that are really contextualized in the work that they do is success in itself.
Right.
Well, thanks for that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and that's okay. And taking all of that knowledge gained and applying it to their next project. They may not be part of an incubator situation, but they start to what we call institutionalize that work in their daily lives. And so, sorry, go ahead and Graham.
Oh, you're right. Thanks, Ashley. Look, we have another question. Nicole Saleur, who's one of our board members for APEN. Over to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Graham. Just a quick question about the connect.extension.org, and is that open? Like, am I able to join that, or is that just American based?
So right now it's for members of the US Cooperative Extension Service. I do think we've had a couple folks from Australia join to come and check it out. Molly, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that sounds correct. Oh, okay. I think that sounds correct. Sure. And but right now, but you can still access the site and you can see a wealth of things that are going on there in the main page. The only thing you can't do is really get into the subgroups, which is really very specific to work that's going on with these extension programs in the US.
And I'll just make comment there too. Yeah, I keep getting emails every week, so I must be participating as well. So
I think I remember seeing you. Yep.
I do keep a good close watch on what's going on, and I guess one of the reasons that prompted me to try and organise US presenters for this webinar.
Well, we really thank you, Graham, for doing that because it's just nice to be able to share. And one of the things I want to ask Megan a question because I think it might be interesting to you all. And it's this: what do we bring to the partnership conversation? How does she help orchestrate all of that? How does she help our teams?
And I think the answer to that, Ashley, is that maybe we can help provide perspectives as Molly has. And Ashley, you have worked on all of these blocks about thinking differently and creating a scenario to empower the teams to move forward with their projects and be thoughtful about them. My hope in the partnership element is to think outside the realm of exclusively funding, or in our case, very frequently extension professionals look at exclusively partners who maybe help with some community outreach and that, but they're intimidated by looking at funding partners, or looking at commercial partners or industry partners that are a little bit outside the box, which I think in your case, because it's such a close industry partnership, you might not have those same challenges, but that's one of the things that we try to help is think outside of your typical volunteer base and look at some groups that can help for longevity and sustainability of programs.
Thanks for that, Megan. We have Jane Whiteman, who works for one of our research development corporations, I believe still. Jane, you'd probably have a question to ask.
Thanks, Graham. You mentioned, Aaron, that the members of the US Collaborators Association can access the whole of what's offered. I'm just wondering, how did the Impact Collaborative Initiative get going? Who supports this? Who said, let's give this a go, and allows it to keep going? Is it government departments or industry bodies or private enterprise? Just really interested to know who supports all these extension operators.
Great
sure.
question.
So the term was the US Cooperative Extension Service. So we work in partnership with something called the Extension Committee on Organization and Policy, which is a committee of a larger organization, but they help set the strategic direction for cooperative extension. And we try to align ourselves with that strategic direction. So a few years ago, for a number of years, e-extension really had a very strong technology focus and a very strong publishing focus, a chance for extension to publish content for the public. And then about 5 years ago, there was a shift to really help extension programs on the development side. And that's where the Impact Collaborative kind of came out of. So there's several iterations that led up to that, but it turned more into a focus on innovation. How can we help cooperative extension be more innovative? So that was the ask by cooperative extension directors and administrators, and these are the folks that oversee extension in their individual states. And that was the ask from the Extension Committee on Organization and Policy.
So I'm taking that's government.
Oh yes, so cooperative extension here is funded by both the federal and by the state, and then ECOP is an organization where each state pays dues to the Association for Public Land Grant Universities.
Great, thanks, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. We've got a number of other people here participating, so, and unfortunately I'm going to pick on you. Roy, have you got any questions that you might have, given your vast years of experience in extension in Australia and also internationally? You might be on mute, Roy. Or maybe you're not there. Okay, that's all right. And any other questions? Because sorry, I'll stop picking on people. I'll just see if there's anybody else who's keen to ask a question. I see a number of private sector extensionists there as well as public sector ones. So any other questions?
Graham, it's Denise again, and
Yes,
this
Denise.
is possibly a little off topic, but apologies, Aaron. It's related to equipment. You're speaking into a microphone. What microphone are you using? Anything you could recommend? This is actually quite important.
I'll be happy to drop a link here in the chat, and you can see the setup that I have.
Thank you. That's very kind.
All good questions and all important questions, actually. Sometimes it's working out to make this technology work for us is very important.
I will say it's fabulous, and I was going to get myself one, but they might be on back order, Denise, so you'll just have to be patient.
Fair enough. We're probably last on the list then.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. Aaron's just put the link to that product in the chat. If people would like to have a look at that, that's fine. Look, we might start pulling this up. If there are no other questions, I'd really like to thank Ashley and the team for the presentation. I think I personally am very interested in I guess the process that you've gone through to provide professional development more broadly across the extension space in the US. And I guess I see opportunities that may arise in the future. It is really key for us in Australia to continue the professional development of extensionists. We have quite a number of very good private sector providers of those types of services, and they're actually participating in this webinar I can see now. But it'd be great to think about how we could actually I guess, ramp that up in the longer term, because I think it is imperative that we do actually continue to improve our professionalism in the extension space and continue to provide opportunities for our extensionists to develop skills in that space and deliver those to the communities they work within. So are there any other questions that people might have at the moment? No one else putting their hand up? I can pick on you because I can see you. No, not by the looks of it. Okay, look, well, thank you again, everybody, and thank you for taking the time out of your Sunday evening to present this to us. It's much appreciated. Just to make you aware, we have been recording this session, so sorry, everyone, but I should have mentioned that at the beginning. We will make this recording available on our website for access for those that were unable to participate in the webinar, and it'll be made available to our APEN membership, which is about 400 odd individuals across Australia and New Zealand and elsewhere in the Pacific region and Asia. So again, thank you everyone for your participation. From small things, hopefully big things will grow. So let's see where this takes us. Okay, thank you very much for your time again.
Thank you, Graham. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.